Once again, the four P's, you want to think about your price. You want to think about your proximity to your location. You want to think about the programming for your children and what their interests are. And then you want to think about the people who are conducting these camps. If you're able to do those things, you should have a very good summer.
Daddy, can I play the music now? But this me go.
You know that I got love for my kinfolk, my blood. Through the thick and thin.
This is me and Daddy here, and Jenny also. And we're here to teach you something. Founded by So Your Grind. And it goes a little something like this. Take it over, Daddy.
Welcome to Family Abide, So Your Grind. This is a podcast series highlighting lessons learned by the hard knocks and by grace. My name is Robert E. Metzger Jr. and my co-host is Divine Lee, aka D. Lee. Our podcast intersects between the culture, faith, family, and finance. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the summer. It is a hot one. So basically what we're doing today, we are talking a little bit about preparing for summer camp. So summer camp largely falls onto my responsibilities, but the wife adds a lot of input to it. But for your planning and coordination purposes, we're going to talk through it a little bit right now. And
Well, can I say this?
yes, go ahead.
I know you're going to add the intro. This is so, I don't know what happened or how it happened that it fell into your lap, but I'm so thankful that Robert takes on summertime and summer camps for the girls every summer, because by April, May, June, as an educator, I'm done and I can't even see anything. So I'm so thankful that you take this on every year.
So basically what we're doing, we have the four P's. Price is my largest issue, is our largest issue. Proximity, which is probably the wife's most important issue, as far as driving from one place to the other. Price, proximity, programming. So the program is very important too. What are your kids' interests? What do they like to do? And then the people. What organizations are setting it up? Is it community colleges? Is it colleges? Is your school district? Is it local churches or camps? So those are a lot of things that you think about when I was trying to coordinate. What is kind of your ideas as far as what's important to you?
Well, I am largely out of the picture when all of this is happening. I have nothing. I don't even know how Robert does what he does or how he finds what he finds. But I am excited about the exposure that they get with the programming that Robert selects. My biggest thing is, and we're not doing it this year, is swimming, because I want all of our girls to be comfortable swimming and feel safe in water. And we're not doing any classes this year because those do get to be extremely expensive. So that's one thing I'm missing. But everything else, I'm just as excited about learning what the kids are doing when they get home as they are about doing it.
So for us in the past, do you know how many weeks of summer there is?
I don't know nothing about the summer. I like, and then I feel like this happened to me last week. I was like, I am a horrible mother. Like, I know nothing about the summer.
Well, it's just, teachers have a different, and you're off for some of the summer, but and it's different from school district to school district. But for us, it just happened to be 10 exact weeks of summer.
Is it
And
10 weeks?
it's 10 weeks for them.
For
10
them.
for them, not for you.
Mm.
10 weeks for our school district.
Like a teacher, don't I?
And they're going to be going to camp or we're paying for camp for 8 of those weeks, but they're going to camp for 9 of them. So breaking that down price point wise, the highest we've paid in the past. Some of your specialty Nike camps, some other things will cost about 550, 575. Um, Swimming camps, all those other things, which we're not going to fully discuss because there's not a lot of just straight swimming camps, but you can go multiple times. Those can be pricey too. The lowest camp uh price points that you will get will probably about $200 per week in the DMV.
Well, unless you're a member of a local church.
Well, we're gonna get into that. $200 for the D or free 99. So she brings up a great point as far as um that goes into your price point with your program and your people. So but as to go along with the price point, we applied for 6 scholarships. You can either apply for just a regular scholarship, you can apply for a financial difficulty scholarship. And most times people do have some type of challenging, whether you're helping out your parents or just something else going on. And um, all of those scholarships or financial hardships we only requested 25% assistance. We knew probably that we don't qualify for a lot of those things, but big shout out to Flagstar. We requested 25% and we actually just got 100% of one camp covered. So
That's for flag
that
football.
was for flag football. So Divine is going to flag football
She's super excited because she got some cleats
and it's an all girls camp. I don't know if it's because it was an all girls camp and she was the youngest age.
because she just finished basketball and she had so much fun. She wrote about it. She had a journal about it. And she said she had so much fun because she was the only girl.
Yeah, she was the only girl in basketball camp. But that might have made a difference. So, and then one of the things that you want to pay attention to with price is time. So if your camp starts at 9, hopefully it goes to at least 3. Sometimes they only go to 2:30, if you want to.
2:30.
No, we don't.
Okay.
So you want to get 3, 3:30, 4:30, and then you got to start thinking about aftercare. And aftercare is an additional price. So with the flag football scholarship, I should look exactly. They just said it was covered, but then we decided to see, hey, are they going to pay for aftercare? And they did. And I was like, oh, okay. Then I was like, oh, are they going
That's
to
for the
pay?
flag
That
football.
was for flag football. And then are they going to pay for the food? They did. So sometimes you get that covered if you do apply and get a scholarship. So just kind of be aware of applying for scholarships or any type of assistance for summer camps, but also with time. So if you pay $400 for a camp that's from 9 to 3, and you're paying $400 from a camp that's from 7 to 6, that makes a huge difference too. Because before and aftercare, depending on your availability, can really hurt your pockets. You're talking about anywhere between 100 to $200.
And while we're on the subject of aftercare, because this is, I think, as an educator, and I feel like maybe most people don't feel what we feel. And a lot of times people just think, oh, you have the summer off. And first of all, going into the summer, I just realized this last week, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to detox from the whole year. Like there's so much that happens from September, August to June. And your body, especially for me as a dance educator, like my body never recovers from one thing to the next. And so by the time we got to the end of the year, last week for DCPS, I kind of like crashed out. It's like I can't move. I don't like I couldn't do anything. And so aftercares are important for me if we can, because I like to get a full day because not only am I recovering, but now I have to either drop off or pick up kids. So whatever I do plan during the day has a time limit because there are also fees for late pickup. And so if you have to make sure you plan your day well so that you can be there to pick up by the designated time.
So yeah, so when you're planning your camps, that's very important before and after care and how long the actual camps are. So that kind of goes into your pricing point. So for us, on our lowest was
Wind.
the low end that we actually paid for was 175 a week, and we'll go into where we got that. And then on the high end, which wasn't that high this year, it's a lot of stuff going on in the economy. So the highest we paid this year was 360 for a week of camp. So we're talking about when we talk about 175 or
360
360,
for one child. I'm
well,
sorry,
correct.
360 for one child.
360 for one child. So if you're thinking about 360, and you could do 360 times two, or for the weeks, or 350 times two, like 700. So some weeks we're paying, potentially up to $700 a week. And other weeks we may not be paying that much at all. So that price point is important to kind of um, look at. So, for example, our first week of camp, we paid 275 for one camp and 175 for another camp. So we paid 425 for our first week of camp. That is that's like the medium end. Some of the higher ends of the camps that we paid for the week, $600. For this current week, so that's $300
Per child.
per child. One week, our church music camp, 250 per week, so that's 500. So most of them around 500. Um,
Are there any camps that offer sibling discounts?
that's a great question. Most camps that I have seen, did not offer a sibling discount for summer camps. So I think the most we spent, we actually did, which is not terrible, but towards the end of the summer, we have 350 for both of them per week, so that's $700. Um, some of the other weeks they kind of balance out because we got some scholarships and whatnot. Additionally, we also always search the web. So, for one example, when we were doing the Dominic Dawes camp, they just had a free promo code for I think it was 25 or $50 off.
As I said earlier, I have absolutely no idea how Robert finds these things.
So,
None.
so you got to kind of be aware of that. So prices one of
I
the
want to, 'cause I want to brag about you sometimes too, because I feel like a lot of times summer things and experiences fall on like the female spouse or the woman identifying spouse. And like I'm so thankful that you do this because I literally have absolutely Robert is explaining this and I'm like, what did we do? When do you even have time to do all of
so
this?
it does add up. So, and for us,
I'm trying to stay on track.
we actually went through several different camps. So price is the second thing is proximity. So proximity is probably one of the spouse's more important ones. We want to try to be relatively close, and hopefully, if you have multiple children, you're going in the same direction. You don't want to have multiple children going into different directions for camps. It just becomes overly burdensome,
Thank you for thinking of that because we haven't had to do that.
and you know our camps are not right next door, but
But they're on the way.
they are on the way. So most of the camps are in the same direction.
Linear path.
Even if they are two different camps, they are not like, oh, drastically apart. There's one week where one is in DC and one is in kind of like an Annapolis area, but we're just gonna have to divide and conquer with that one. So proximity is very important. Programming. So programming, you got to assess your child's interest, whether it be art camp, dance camp, um, basketball camp. So we kind of did a little bit of everything this year. We did a church camp, vacation Bible school. That actually was free. So we have one week that was free for both children. So that always helps. One week where we're going on summer vacation, so they didn't go on summer camp for that week. That always helps. But then, trying to make sure one of our daughters is likes to do backflips and cartwheels, and
Not backflips.
well, she wants to,
Legit.
yeah. And she looks like she might hurt herself, so she, setting up, going to
You
like
talking
the
about Journey?
journey,
Oh,
doing like
Think her trying to do a backflip?
She's trying.
No.
She almost looked like she about to hurt herself.
Will make
Cartwheels, yeah, but like cartwheels, and so getting those experiences and becoming more fully able is important part
having body autonomy,
of their
understanding your physical
yeah, of
ability.
their summer enrichment, right? So Divine wanted to do, she wants to do a lot of different things. So
Devon wants to do
so
everything
you,
in the world.
if you do basketball, you can do flag football. She the Dominique Dawes one has like ninja. She wanted to do like American Ninja Warrior. So they do have like a Ninja Warrior component for kids. So that's cool too. Um, so all those things are important. Also, you got to also think about age. Sometimes age becomes a critical factor. They want kids to be either going into first grade or kindergarten or second grade. That could be a restriction on certain camps, and that kind of can impact you. So,
Impacts more so what they are capable of doing. And I think a lot of times my concern with the age factor is, are they socially adept to do whatever the program is? But oftentimes, what the programming is seeking is if they are educationally or academically prepared for whatever they have, whether it's like a reading or writing or things like that. But socially, for me, because I'm like, are you prepared to have conversations with people on certain ages, with at a certain age? Do you understand what kind of conversations are appropriate and things like that? So I think those kind of conversations are important to have at home before going to summer camps. And then just in I don't know if this is something you want to talk about, like just things that we do at home, and we can talk about this more later, because we have uh, a kindergarten, I'm sorry, a first grader and a third grader, right? And so like they know how to tie their shoes. They know how to they know their phone numbers, they know their address. So like things that you're practicing at home while they're going to these experiences that are outside of their normal uh schedule. So they're not with the people that they're normally with, they're not with the teachers that they're normally with, they're not with the students or in the environment. So like how do you make feel safe with them going to these places, and how do you make them feel safe? Also, those kind of conversations that you're having at home.
so um, that's a very important part of programming. Also, do you want a camp that's just like a multi-purpose camp, a camp that just does a lot of different things? Do you want camps that are more specialty types? Um, so, and the last P though is people. So, who are the people that are conducting these camps? So, when I'm searching or when we're searching, when I'm searching,
So
uh, a lot of times the places that you want to look at that will help with all of the above P's, the pricing, the programming, the people is your local resources. Does your school district have summer camps? If so, are they free? Actually, last year, or it might have been 2 years ago, last year they our school district had a free summer camp. So it just depends. Did too, yeah.
the dance one,
Oh yeah, they did. They had two. That was a
the
good one.
dance one, and
And
the swimming
and
one.
the swimming one.
And the swimming one was very helpful with Journey because she became way more comfortable in water.
Mm-hmm.
And there was so many kids at that camp when I saw the pictures, because it was like it was an outdoor camp and they were all also in the swimming pool. So they got to go into cabins, excuse me. They got to go into cabins and rest, and then they got to go on nature walks and do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it was a swimming camp, so they were all in the water for an extended amount of time.
So I would start with your school district first. Then I would start with your local community centers. Your local community centers are going to provide a lot of resources. They're probably going to be more general in nature, but they're probably going to be more cost controlled measures. Then I would look at your community colleges and your actual colleges. So we're fortunate we have a whole bunch of community colleges and colleges in our region, and they are going to provide a lot of opportunity for you. So we have University of Maryland, we have Howard, we have Navy. We went to Micah, which is an art camp, art school last year. University of Maryland, Baltimore College has things. So there's a lot of.
I want to say this too.
Mhm.
Like Maryland, and my friends have said this. I have friends that, we have friends that live all over. But a friend from California was actually saying, because I was talking about experiences that our children had. And I didn't notice it until today, where our kids have such an it's probably not normal experience because there are so many people that look like them. And I would say this particularly Black women that are heading a lot of these camps. The basketball camp, the women, the Black women fell in love with Divine because she was the only girl. Um, and then the kids went to
What?
the University of Maryland with
So that
the cultural
the
center.
cultural center.
There were, a number of Black women there, also Black men, but they are having a Black experience, and I don't know like how important this is to everyone. And even if we have listeners who are not particularly Black, but it's a very important for our kids and everyone's kids to see people that look like them doing the things that they want to do. And so we are very fortunate to have our little Black girls, see Black women in different positions of everything. Because even last year, when Divine was going to the basketball, the Nike camp and the what's the other camp that she went to at
Sandra Chase.
yeah. And so they have, and now Dominique Dawes, and so they are having a lot of experiences where they get to see women that look like them doing the things that maybe they might want to do one day. It's just all about, from like I said, for me, it's the experience. Like, what are you seeing? What are you doing? What are you internalizing?
And one of the things, actually, even with Dominique Dawes, we were able to, we're fortunate enough to go to the opening, and they touched their first gold medal, and I was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's your first gold medal. But I was like, it may not be your last, and she was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was like, I don't know what you might get a gold medal in or whatnot, but those experiences that hopefully that they can remember. But community colleges are a very good resource to get programming. Each, there's a lot of different community colleges around here, so you can look at each district. Even if it's not in your district, a community college, like in and out of district for summer camps, is not going to be a drastic difference for most places. Not every area is going to have like four or five colleges, four or five community colleges in a small local region, but those are good resources to look. And then obviously, one of the things is church. So they're going to church for two of the camps, and there are a couple. Actually, I think in this area, if you wanted to, you could go to straight summer camps, which is church camps. But the problem is you're going to be driving a lot. So there were some other church camps that we looked at, but it was just a little bit too far. And
that Robert looked at because
and time wise, it might not make sense. So if you're driving an hour, and some of the camps, especially if they're free, they might not be as long. So it might be a 9 to 2:30. You don't want to be driving for a while and then you have to turn back and go. But our church has two camps that they're specifically doing. They're doing a music academy where they'll be doing the Lion King this year, and then they're also just doing a general vacation Bible school camp for free. And that's not only free to members of our own church, but free to members of the community. So that's utilized heavily by a lot of different people, and a lot of different
yeah,
churches do that too.
our kids, they've met a lot of um, friends that don't either were not members or didn't go to the school that they go to. And it's really fun watching them experience other kids that they don't normally get to play with.
So I didn't run the math, but I got to run the math. I think we did for summer camps for about 10 weeks. We're looking at about
Do the math. This is a finance
I
podcast.
know we should have done the math, but I did the rough math before, but it's about $4,000
For the summer?
for the summer. $4,000, but that's for two, and that's over 10 weeks, 9 weeks. Hey,
Child.
so, and then we don't actually consider aftercare though, too. So there's two things. One part is we normally pay for aftercare after school during the school year. So we're not paying for that. So that's
So that,
about
but that money is now going
that's
to.
kind of so it's kind of like
But also,
hmm,
I mean, can I be really honest?
okay.
Because we haven't finished paying off after school and daycare from last year. So we still have some catching up to do.
Aftercare we probably done.
I mean, aftercare, because that's consistent.
That's consistent. So yeah, the aftercare.
Over aftercare. No.
So the aftercare is probably about, but for the two of them, is $400 a month, which is not terrible. That's probably really good actually. And then daycare is
Do the roof.
yeah, it's probably about like for us is just turned two, so it's a little bit cheaper. So it's probably about $1,500 a month.
Y'all heard him say it's a little bit cheaper and then say $1,500. It's a little bit cheaper.
That's a little bit cheaper after.
It's just another mortgage.
So these are all finances that you have to consider. Um, and then also another thing that we did early in her teaching career, but not so much now, is you're really not supposed to pull the child out
Mm.
during the summer. Like at one point, we had somebody who was a little bit more lenient, and we took the child out for a couple of weeks. But if you take the child out,
You have
you
to
may you
re-register.
have to re-register. You may lose the spot
Mhm.
technically. So it's not just and most
So I don't have the capacity to do that anymore.
yeah yeah.
It feels so bad. And for me as a mother specifically, and just, growing up, thinking that, oh, this child got that and this child got that, and nobody really thinking that their childhood was fair or equitable. And so as a mother, I want to have equitable experiences for my children. But also, I don't have the capacity at almost 40 that I did at 30, 32. So it's difficult to be like, okay, I'm gonna take out, or more from daycare for 2 weeks.
But I think also what you realize is that each child needs something different. So I think
The more is just now growing up, so it would be unfortunate to take her out.
some children benefit a little bit more from structure compared to others, or depending on the environment. So those are all important factors to be aware of when planning out your summer. So planning out your summer, it really starts in about January. You should plan for your summer.
January, I'm preparing for Black History Month performances, and so this is where that's all like, why am I never?
You should plan in January. Most of your registrations will be in February and March, and you should be confirmed by May. So also another thing is we also applied for a few camps that we got put on the wait list. So that's something else that happens, but it can be challenging if you get put on the wait list. And we actually got accepted all into the program, but if you already have other things scheduled, it just doesn't work out. Also, one other factor is we had a Howard camp, basketball camp,
Don't talk about it.
and sometimes you might have a low enrollment in a camp. So depending on if the camp has low enrollment, that camp might that that might camp might
Well, that was the first time we experienced that.
yeah might get canceled. So that's
And I'm
also a possibility too.
sad about that one, so we won't go into that.
Yeah. So that would have been
But it is nice to have, and you talked about this in the beginning. It is nice to have our girls, we have girls, our children have experiences on college campuses. And I think this is what I wanted to say about University of Maryland specifically, because University of Maryland is not an HBCU, but you would not know it if you were just on campus. Like every time we've been there a few times this year.
I just think it depends on the
Because
program.
because of where we are. But they had a lacrosse.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's certain programs like
Lacrosse, it was completely different.
yeah, if you go to lacrosse, if you go to there's certain programs, field hockey, depending on the camp. the summer camp that you sign up for, you might have a different constituency or demographics. But
Those are big words.
that's to be expected depending on your population and what your interests are in that area. So all these are things to consider. So once again, the four P's, you want to think about your price, you want to think about your proximity to your location, you want to think about the programming for your children and what their interests are, and then you want to think about the people who are conducting these camps. But if you're able to do those things, you should have a very good summer. And they came home today and they were knocked out. They couldn't even get ice cream.
So, well, first of all, it's like 100 degrees outside. And I knew, well, Jordan told me yesterday, she said, Mommy, tomorrow's going to be hot. The radio said it. And so I was like, okay, we're going to go to the pool when you get home and we'll get Rita's before. Child, we got to Rita's and they were knocked out. And so I was like, what do I do? I tried to wake them up multiple times. So they're going to be begging me for some Rita's ice cream and a pool visit this week. But it's hot, so we'll see.
So thank you guys. You'll be getting a chopped and screwed version. Shortly, we'll break it up and just do short, more digestible versions of this. Some of the highlights of planning for your summer. And thank you very much.
Hope this is helpful.
Peace.
Purpose to make this life worth it. Through the joy and pain, you gotta keep searching. Living life, no regrets. Ain't no shoulda, woulda, coulda, had an altar. Still been a minute since I've been up at the altar.
Thank you for listening to Family Abide. Make sure to subscribe in order to catch future episodes. Family Abide is available on all your favorite podcast outlets. Remember, life is not just about family. It's not just about wealth. It's about building people and communities that endure without yielding. Always choose your abundance beyond insecurities, debts, and entanglements. The next generation is depending on us. Remember your purpose. Sow your grind and watch it grow. Thank you for joining us on Family Abide.
So you're crying.
Everybody need love. Everybody need love. I'm tired of my problems. I'm tired of the drama. I'm tired of the pressure from my mama and my papa. I'm tired of the pain. I'm tired of the rain. I'm tired of the hurting. I'm tired of the working. I'm tired of the struggling. I'm tired of the hustling. I'm so sick and tired of having nothing.
Jam, you got something to say?
But I have to say, I'll turn the link on the link.
Yeah, I think it's good developing daddy-daughter relationships.